I've been asked to review the difference between PPI medication and H2 blockers. So if you're on Pepcid, then you're familiar with being on an H2 blocker, and they are very different drugs. And of course, what prompted this question is that I've been doing several videos on the dangerous side effects associated with PPIs. So just to refresh, in case you haven't seen those videos, once you've been on the PPI for about longer than 6 weeks, it's really creating some intensive changes in your body. Nutrient deficiencies is one. Your magnesium levels, zinc, calcium, iron get lowered and become deficient, or at least not optimal. And along with that, you get increased risk. Also vitamin B12 gets diminished because you need the acid in your stomach in order to absorb vitamin B12 along with those minerals I just mentioned. Further, because you need an acid environment to kill organisms, inhospitable organisms that come in our food, you're more likely to get infections. Subsequent to that, you are more at risk for mood imbalances, loss of libido, anxiety, depression, also kidney disorders and osteoporosis, a bone disorder, loss of bone, also risk of stroke and heart attack, also risk of stomach cancer. So there's quite a long list associated with being on a PPI. And so the question was, is an H2 blocker any better? And it's a little bit better, but let's delve into it so you can see if maybe that's a better alternative for you. But ultimately, the alternative I want for you is not to need these medications at all, because they both do have side effects. And when you don't need them, then of course your body is functioning the way that it should, because we've gotten to the root cause of what's irritating your stomach, what's forcing it to bring that acid in from the contents of the stomach, which is where it should be, and it's designed to be. Your stomach is designed to be a bag of acid, but it's not designed to have pressure forced upon it such that it has no choice but to bring that acid up your esophagus. That's where the trouble ensues. It's not your stomach being a bag of acid, it's that acid going in the wrong direction up your esophagus and bathing your esophageal tissues, which are not designed to have that happen. And just for anybody who's ever vomited, you know that awful feeling and that burning sensation, and that's your esophagus saying, no thank you, I don't want to be bathed in acid. So let's get back to the H2 blocker. And the Pepcid or famotidine is the most common one used. And basically what it does is, as the name implies, H2 blocker, it's blocking the effects of the H2 receptors, which what happens is histamine triggers your stomach cells, called parietal cells, to release acid, and they do that by activating the H2 receptor. So what happens with H2 blockers is it's blocking that histamine-induced acid secretion. So that's how it happens. Now, H2 blockers are much less effective than PPIs, so that they're used for mild to moderate or just nighttime acid reflux. They're not used for severe acid reflux. They act faster within an hour, which is nice. They don't last as long. They last approximately 6 to 12 hours versus a PPI can last 24 hours. So people are tending to take it once a day, although sometimes people do take it more depending on the severity of their case. Side effects, not long-term, but sort of incidental side effects, are headaches, constipation, diarrhea. I should stop there with the constipation and diarrhea because it shows how much it's offsetting and disrupting how your GI tract works. But constipation is very much one of the problems that creates hiatal hernia syndrome, creates acid reflux, because you're getting that increased intra-abdominal pressure that's pushing on the stomach. So the fact that you're taking a drug to help with your reflux and the side effect is constipation or diarrhea, meaning offsetting your microbiome, that's problematic. In addition to that, muscle aches, and if you think about the fact that it's depleting your ability to absorb Magnesium, that makes sense because magnesium is a muscle relaxer, and also confusion in the elderly. So that then sort of segues into some of the longer term side effects of H2 blockers, and that is similar to the PPI, a B12 deficiency, and that is where you get into the issues with depression, anxiety, libido issues, etc., mood issues. So that's where that comes in. Also, there is increased risk of infections similar to the PPI. They're just not as profound, but I mean, an infection's an infection. So it makes sense that if you're diminishing the acid, even though you're not diminishing it as much, you still have that same issue, which is that there's organisms found in the food, and the reason your stomach was designed by Mother Nature to be a bag of acid is so that acid would kill off those bad organisms. So whether you've diminished it a little or a lot, you're still allowing them to propagate, and so it's not surprising that that's a side effect as well. The kidney issues and mood issues are considered more rare with the H2 blocker, and there is microbiome disruption, just not considered as severe. So it goes back to the infections, that those two kind of go hand in hand, because when you're allowing these bad organisms to propagate and multiply, that is disrupting your microbiome, which is the 60 to 100 trillion organisms in your colon. And the more bad guys that are present, they start suppressing the good guys, and then your microbiome is imbalanced. You're more likely to have constipation, diarrhea, GI upset. But also remember that that microbiome keeps your immune system strong and balances hormones and allows you to make serotonin, which is a mood stabilizer. So it's all interrelated. So as soon as you're disrupting your gut, you're looking for trouble. And I know you got on the drug to handle a disruption in your gut. I just don't like the viewpoint of, let's alter a function, a major function of the first place food goes, which is your stomach. Let's alter that, and then the trickle-down effect is profound. So much better to say, why? Why is my stomach irritated? Why is it bringing acid up into my esophagus? Why is this happening? And that's what we do here with a very high success rate. And so that's what I want for you. I want for you to be able to get off these medications. And we don't just tell you to stop, because that can be dangerous. There's a very specific methodology that one goes through where you're supporting and weaning and supporting and weaning. And that's very customized to each individual. So pardon me if I'm not telling you exactly what to do, because I don't know you, right? I don't know your health history. I don't know how long you've been on these meds. It's very specific to the individual. I more want to impart this information so you can be proactive about knowing the fact that an H2 blocker is maybe a little less hazardous than a PPI, but not by a lot. So the goal is to get you off both. So I hope that shed some light on that question. I've been getting that a few times. I do read all my comments, and so I like to respond to questions that I hear with some frequency, and that was definitely one. So if you like the information on this channel, please consider subscribing. We're trying to increase our subscribers so that more people can hear this information and learn and be more proactive about their health. That's what we're here for. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, share it with others, and that just really helps more people, and that's why we're here. I do appreciate you very much, and we'll talk soon.